Hey everybody, thanks for watching. So today we're going to make the most amazing roast chicken, and we're going to do this in several stages, and we're going to serve it with a really nice roasted vegetable salad. So we're going to do a few steps. We're going to first brine the chicken, and then we're going to rub it, and then we're going to cook it on a charcoal rotisserie, which is amazing. It's this amazing small portable little rotisserie I have, and it's so easy and it's so good. So anyways, back to the brine. So we've got I put some brown sugar in there, I put some salt in there, and I'm also going to put some vegeta in there, which is a very Eastern European kind of seasoning. My grandmother used to put it in chicken soup. It's basically a vegetable broth, but I quite like it. It gives a bit more of a full flavor. So yeah, we'll put that on the stove, we'll let that heat up. And so because we want to dissolve the sugar and the salt, we can also throw in anything you like. If you have some thyme, throw it in. I'll put some bay leaves. I had some dried herbs. I didn't have any fresh herbs because I was in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, so that's where we'll start. We'll put the heat on, give it a good whisk, and let it all dissolve. Once we've done that, because the chicken's going to go in this and the water's hot, we're going to add a little bit of cold water. You see, I didn't start off with much water in the pot. So we'll add some cold water to that, and that will still probably be a little bit warm, so we'll go ahead and we'll chuck some ice in as well to bring it down to a decent temperature, because you don't want to cook the chicken and you want it to be cold. So we'll do that. Once that water's cool, we're going to chuck in our chicken, a nice beautiful good quality chicken. We'll put that in there, and look at me, I've guessed the exact amount of water that I need, our liquid in there, and then we'll put the lid on and we will stick that in the fridge. Next, we're going to make the rub. We're just going to get that prepped up. So very simple. I've got some loaded paprika there, and I've got Montreal Steak Spice. Now that Montreal Steak Spice is stuff that I make myself, and I've got a recipe for it on my website, so you can use that. So we're just gonna dissolve it in a bit of olive oil so we can rub it up easily. So we'll put that to the side. Now we're going to get our chicken ready. So I want you to cut the wing tips off first, because we're going to use these for something special in one of the important steps of making the most amazing roast chicken. So we're going to use them, make like a tiny little stock out of them. So we'll just cut those tips off and put them aside. Next, we're going to put some things inside the chicken to perfume it. So we've got some shallots there that are going to go in. We can put some garlic, some lemon. If you have some fresh thyme, put that in there as well. Bay leaves, pepper, anything you like that you can perfume it. Now, what else we're going to do is we're going to separate the skin from the breast. Now, I'm being ridiculously heavy-handed here, and I will go on to regret that later. But you should just be gentle and take your time with it. Now I've gone and ripped the skin, and I'm going to pretend that I didn't. Yeah, no, you did, Alex. So never mind. Try not to do what I did, because it's not the end of the world, but you're better off having the skin intact. And then we've got to take some butter, and we're going to stick that under the skin. So when this is cooking, it's going to baste underneath the skin of the chicken, and it's going to baste the breast of the chicken and the rest of it as it's cooking. Which just gives it a lovely extra little component on top of it all. And the best thing about this is once all that's cooking, it's going to drip into the pan below, in which we'll be cooking our vegetables, and so it's just adding a lot of other levels of complexity. Now, something I forgot to do was to take out the wishbone. So just basically slice along the wishbone on either side and dig in with your fingers and pull it out. It shouldn't be very hard to do at all, and there you go, there's the wishbone. Put that aside, and that's going to go in our stock later as well. So once we've done that, yeah, pull that ripped skin over, Alex. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to get the chicken ready to truss it up, and we're going to put it on the spit for the rotisserie. So basically, what you want to do, and it's up to you how you do it. You can look up different videos on how to truss it up, how to tie up a chicken. You can do it a lot of different ways. So look, I'm just doing what works for me. So I like to sew up that cavity so we don't have bits of lemon and bay leaves and thyme or whatever we're using flying out of the chicken while it's cooking. But we want to have the chicken in like a nice little round ball, so it's like cooking evenly and it's nice and tidy, and like the leg isn't falling off and dragging through something, or dragging through or falling into the fire and getting burnt more. We want it to all be sort of cooking as evenly as possible. So yeah, so I cut a hole through that flap just either side on through the thigh, not through the thigh, but just the back part of the cavity. Put a string through and tied it. You want to tie the legs up, get them nice and secure together as well. And then you can tie a string right around it, but I believe I did. But like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I also cut a hole through the wings to keep the wings in nice and tight close to the body as well. So I'll put string through each of the wing and wrap those all the way around the carcass of the chicken. And that seemed to work really, really well. See, right now you can see I've got a nice round solid shape, and we put the skewer through it, and this amazing machine that I'm using has got these little prongs that dig into the chicken, and you can seal those up, and there we go. We've got a chicken on the skewer, or on the rotisserie spit, and we're going to be ready to start marinating it in our rub right about now. So this is an awfully messy part of the procedure. So we've got our olive oil, we've got our Montreal Steak Spice and our paprika, and we're just going to rub it all over the chicken. So try and cover as much as you can. So like I said, these are beautiful flavors, and they're just gonna absorb into the chicken, and like I said, we're gonna use this also, the drippings from this, we're gonna cook our vegetables in as well. So this is just gonna have so much flavor once we're finished with it. So yeah, keep it nice and tidy as much as you can, and once that's ready, we'll just put that aside. And we'll start prepping up our vegetables. So I've got some sweet potato, I've got some carrots, I've got some baby potatoes, and some beetroot, which I used to hate as a kid because I hated it because my mum bought canned beets, and they were disgusting, and I hated them. Like when you're a kid, that's not the kind of thing you like. Well, I mean, it was pretty much the 70s, so we had canned peas. We had a lot of canned vegetables at the time. We didn't get the same variety of fresh vegetables that you get now. So there we go. We'll give those a peel, and yeah, I've learned to really love beets, whether they're fresh or roasted. As long as they're done nicely, they're actually really amazing. So we're going to cut those into thirds. Very simple and straightforward, and we're going to roast them like that, and then we'll probably cut them a little bit smaller when it goes into our salad. But that gives us a nice size for roasting. It won't dry out too much, but you'll get a nice caramelization, and you'll get that roasted flavor that you want from them. So we'll just finish those off, and then we'll go into our carrot. So we'll take the ends off the carrot, and then we'll cut that in half with our beautiful knife that we've got here, which is so sharp, and it's great for this kind of thing. And that just a lot of knives wouldn't go through a carrot that easily. But that did. So we just did that in quarters. We're going to cut these sweet potato into wedges, and there you go. So we will put these in these metal trays, just these disposable metal trays, because they'll be sitting next to the fire, and we're going to cook that underneath the chicken when we get started. I've used 2 trays here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate them underneath the chicken because there's not enough room for both of them at once. So what we're doing here is a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to season them nicely with some salt and pepper, but you don't want to go overboard because we will have the drippings of the chicken going on there as well. So we would just liberally with some pepper though, and we'll just get them nice and coated so they roast nice and evenly. Next, we'll get our little mini stock ready. So I've got some butter there. We're going to use some olive oil. We're just going to roughly chop up some garlic. You don't have to peel it, it's fine. We got some more shallots. We'll just slice that up. Again, you don't really have to peel it, that's fine. So we'll just get those nice and thin so that when we cook them, we'll make sure we release all the flavor out of them. We'll be cooking for quite a while, so you don't have to cut them very thin. So like I said, a little bit of butter, a little bit of olive oil, throw our things in. Now what I didn't do here, because I'm a rookie mistake that I should have done, was throwing the chicken wingtips in and the wishbone, but I didn't, so I put them in afterwards, and that's fine. So we'll sweat those down, deglaze with a little bit of white wine, reduce, throw the chicken in, probably add a little bit more white wine, reduce it, add a little bit of water, and then we'll just cook that for ages. Now, next we're going to talk about the barbecue that we're going to use. We've got the Rotisserie, which is amazing. It's tiny, it's portable, it breaks down, the legs come off of it, but it's solid, it's made of cast iron. the base of it, and it's just a great little barbecue, and it's not just a rotisserie. You can use it as a regular barbecue as well. And I found out about it because I've got a good friend called Vlad, who's the most amazing character. He loves his food and he loves his barbecue, and he told me about this, and he saw this somewhere, and he loved it so much he bought a shipping container full of them, and he sells them. So I'll put a link for it, and it's ridiculously cheap. I'll flash that up later on how much it is, because I can't remember. It's something ridiculous, like 70 or 80 bucks, but it's super cheap and super worth it. So what you do is, in the cast iron bit, you put your fire on, then you put that grill in, and this comes the best bit. This is for the rotisserie. The whole thing tilts sideways, so you don't get any flare-ups, and it cooks with side heat. And as it burns, you just add some more charcoal in through the top, so that just keeps the fire going. It's just simple and so well thought out. So once your charcoal is just about ready, then it's pretty much time to get your chicken on there. And there we go, magically. And the rotisserie turny bit is actually in that black handle. That's where the gears are, and it works off of a double D battery. And I used one battery, and it lasted me for a whole season. And I did a fair bit of cooking on it as well. Okay, so you can see we've got our vegetables underneath that, and that's going to roast, which is really good. And we'll just leave that. We'll make sure we turn it every now and then. Now what we'll also do is we'll put some foil in over the top of it to create like a little oven and speed up the process. Just make sure you don't cover that handle, because that might melt it. This is after it's been cooking for a little while, as you can see, and it's looking amazing. One thing you can do is you don't have to cook the vegetables in there the whole time. You can take them after they've had a fair bit of cooking, put it in your warm oven, and let it finish off in there. So we're going to prep up the rest of the salad now. So I've got some fresh mint, we've got some fresh parsley chopped up. We're going to put that in our salad bowl. And that's going to add to the roasted vegetables, which is going to be a lovely contrast of freshness along with the roasted vegetables that have been smoky and in the fire. A little bit of garlic. We're just going to keep it simple. Just some garlic, olive oil, fresh herbs, and salt and pepper, of course. And try not to keep lemon seeds in there like I did. Rookie mistake again. And we're also going to put some spinach. We'll just roughly chop that up and chuck it in a bowl. So that'll wilt a little bit once you chuck in the warm vegetables. And of course, avocado just goes beautifully in every kind of salad ever. And so we'll put that in there. Now, I'm going to actually play a little bit of Vlad. This is my friend Vlad. He also plays cello amazingly. So I thought we'd listen to a bit of Vlad, and he can take us through the rest of this recipe while we cook. And I just thought it was appropriate because it's a lovely little piece that he's composed here and that he's played live in Miami. And I think it's just amazing. He's such a talented individual and such a character. And I'm so glad that he introduced me to the Rotisserie. Okay, thank you, Vlad. Let's get back to cooking. We've got our roasted vegetables here. They're all pretty much ready to go, and so now that they're ready, we're going to slice them up to go into our salad. So the carrots, we can just cut them at an angle, and slightly chunky, bite-sized, or bigger than bite-sized pieces. Sweet potatoes, same thing. Oh, they just look so gorgeous. You can see all the herbs that have fallen off of the spices that have fallen off the chicken and dripped into there. It's just beautiful. Anyways, sweet potato goes in again. The potatoes we just cut in half. Very, very simple, and they just work so well in the salad with the mint and the parsley and the lemon juice. It all works really well. And of course the beets or beetroot, depending where you live. So we'll just cut those into some nice chunks, and they'll be perfect and a nice complement in the salad as well. We're just about done. We've got our chicken ready. Now, see all those drippings there? That's going to go into our stock as well. Now, this is the fun bit of what happens to that stock. We're going to mix it up, and we're going to put it into a meat injector. And all that flavor that we've got there is going to go right back into that chicken. And it's going to be the most moist and delicious and flavorful chicken you've ever had, I promise you. So, feel free, inject away into the breast, into the legs, into the thigh, wherever you want. and that will just make it. It's amazing. So anyways, toss our salad. I'm gonna finish the salad off with a little bit of goat's cheese. Boom, it's ready, and we're pretty much ready to carve and serve now. So we're almost done. I just take the legs and thighs off, then I split those again. I take the breast off as well. You might see there's a piece of bread there in the back, kind of soaking up all the juices. I didn't have any fancy bread because I don't eat a lot of bread, but I did have that, and it's such a shame for it to go to waste. Anyways, yeah, I'm a bit of a glutton as far as that's concerned. So anyways, our chicken's ready to go. Just about ready to serve, and here we are. Beautiful Californian Zinfandel to go with that. It goes so well with the chicken, the goat's cheese, the roasted vegetables, that smokiness, juicy chicken, juicy wine. I'm so happy right now. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you make this at home. And like I said, have a look at the Rotisserie online. I'll put a link for that as well. If you have an RV, if you have a motorhome, a boat, or whatever, even at home, it's perfect. It's tiny and so easy to use and so easy to clean. Have a look, and it's like 70 or I think it's like 70 or 80 bucks. Anyways, have a look at Vlad's website and Facebook page. He's got a lot more videos there of stuff that he's done. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.